showed the brothers last week. I wanted y'all to see this video first so we can talk about it, okay? Because I swear by goodness, when I was watching TV, it came up as a commercial, okay? Now here's the video because I want to hear y'all feedback on this, bro. I myself was basically kind of blown away and couldn't believe that I was watching this video. So let me let it play.
You know, them see nigga folks you so go around my way, nigga won't be lost. They pushing your place, you get hit like golf. Roll out my nigga. Be sawed off, here we go, so move. All you do is just talk. There, guy, what you on, bro? I'm standing here worried, I seen that law. Nigga go out there, way just to play and get popped. Shit, man, you go out like straight, bro. How you gonna say I'm broke and I'm rolling go out on God? Switch my nigga, this sweater, man, cause I'm in my band, no dark, man. Hey, hold on, bro. Tough. Them boys ain't trying to put that on. And hey, bro, what shot said? It's about 9. It's about 9. Y'all niggas straight? What the fuck going on? Shit, fuck it, shit. Let's see, I see, I get this spot tonight, man. So that was Young Fat Big Scar Trap House remix. And I was watching TV the other day, and this thing came up as a commercial. And I don't know. I felt some kind of way about it.
What was the advertisement?
For the record. It was for the record.
Oh, it was for the record, for sure, right? Like the song.
The record.
But my question is what is that? I don't know. What do y'all think?
I think what it tells you the challenge we got right now as parents, bro. I'm a parent with a 16-year-old, and brother, that's exactly what I'm dealing with. That right there, you know. And my job as a parent is trying to keep him straight and direct. But that exposure that they get to this stuff, man, is rough, bro. It is. Man, I can relate honestly. You know, having kids. And not even kids, young men at this age and what they're being exposed to by stuff, just that, you know what I mean? I mean, everybody talking slow and smoking weed and it's just, oh my God, bro, it just gets to me, man. I'm gonna be honest. That's a point in my life right now that I'm trying to keep my son on the straight and narrow. It's some work, don't get me wrong. I gotta be in his life every day, you know what I mean, to keep him right. But they get exposed to this 24/7, bro. 24/7. This is on the air. This is what they listen to. That's why they got white kids comfortable saying nigga now, because of stuff like this. They comfortable saying it, bro. Comfortable, and that is next. Who's up, man? I'm frustrated with that, man.
I'm just appalled. I'm with, you know, the comedian. You know, I'm just appalled. I'm actually looking at. Just shaking my head when you first put it on.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to myself, what is these corporate people doing to our young black men?
There it is. You hit it, baby. You hit it. That's who's doing it. Somebody had to give it a thumbs up.
Yeah, exactly. You know, what's gonna make us money? You know, we're gonna put a few $1,000s in their pocket. And then with the premise of being arrested too, because you're showing me semi-auto weapons, shotguns. So now I go to the corporate people, you know, law enforcement goes to the corporate people. Well, that wasn't authorized or whatever it is to cover their ass. You know, now we go to the young guys, which clearly they was clearly ranging anywhere from 16 to maybe 19 years old.
That's it.
You know, again, smoking weed or whatever, you know, but like, yo, I can really say that just struck a chord with me, man.
It is, man. It
struck a chord with me deep, you know, and, you know, we were just talking about where we were in high school and stuff like that. That was the farthest from my mind. That you had if let's say we had like in my school 1,000 guys, 1,000 males. out of those 1,000 males, it might have been 20 that thought like that.
Well,
Now,
when you say thought like that, what do you mean? Like
thought
what?
with the I'm a gangster, I'm got a gun and that type of thing. Now it's reversed. Now you got 1,970 thinking like that, and you got that 20 going with the numbers you said as far as schools being readiness in Philadelphia. Now you got that 20 trying to think positive. You know what I'm saying? And it's actually hard for our youth from east to west coast, from north to south. It's hard because everybody not everybody, but a good majority of our young men want to live that life. You know, they think, rapping.
It's glorified. It's glorified now. That's the life to live, right?
Also, what you got to say, also?
Well, I got to say, well, first of all, my opinion of the whole thing is just completely negative. I can start from beginning to end. All right, the whole thing, every message in there, from the guns to the drug use to the underage. But I also want us to take a look at this, and I'm not making any excuses for any of them because I wasn't feeling it at all. But let's not be too hypocritical here because we all come from the age of hip hop, right? When they put on the NWA video, all right, when they put on Ice Cube, okay, when they put on Public Enemy, Congress and everybody was jumping up and down about the use of guns, profanity, kill the police, all that whole thing in the 80s and 90s. So I'm not going to make an excuse for these ignoramuses that was just on there, but it's hip hop. It's corporate. This is what supposedly hip hop has developed into. It sells. Okay? It sells. It started really fundamentally from partying to a message, and it has evolved into a character of itself. Right? Like I said, I don't want us to get too over hypocritical now that we're in our 50s and everything like that. Like we weren't exposed to this kind of music or these kind of videos when we were coming up, because we were. This is just, they've just taken it to a whole different level. But for me to close, I'm going to let Preacher in on it. For me to close on it, the whole thing is just up and down negative. Like I said, I don't even want to give them the time of day to even comment on it.
Mm-hmm. Preacher, I want you to hold your thought, Preacher. Hold on a moment. I know you got a lot to say. Doc, what you got to say about it?
Very negative video. But I think the time differences between the stuff that we had compared to that stuff that they were doing. I mean, we didn't have the videos with the guns in it. I mean, we were also cussing, but we didn't have
NWA, bro.
Again, that's a different era. That's a different era. NWA, that West Coast nonsense didn't start into the 90s. We were already out of high school. We were grown men at that time. But go ahead, Doc. Finish your thought.
Yeah, I mean, I get your point there also, but the way that stuff there was portrayed as, it was like very, very like deep into I'm going to kill the first person that I see, compared to what NWA was. It wasn't like they was actually literally pointing the gun at the screen like that. They wasn't that negative with it. But I didn't like the video at all. It was very negative, and I wouldn't support that, or damn sure wouldn't allow my child to see that.
Crooner, what you got to say, bro? Usually you got a different perspective when you look and see stuff like this. So I'm curious.
I'm like this. I'm like, you guys have been blessed, man. I grew up with that. My neighborhood and my house, we grew up with that. And I remember I was about 10 years old. I first got a gun put on me, just walking down the street. Because
pulled on you.
Pulled on me. Me and my brother was coming from church, as a matter of fact. And about 4 little Negroes run up on us and said, "Give me your money." And what happened, I did something really stupid, man. He hit my brother and I hit his ass back, and he had a gun in his hand. I wasn't thinking. It was just a reaction thing.
All right.
Thank God he didn't shoot me. But I grew up with stuff like that, man. And it's the environment. It was, and when I saw the video, first thing I thought about was that it's the environment, and it's sucky that they had to live that way. And another thing I thought about too, when the police kill them or when they die, their mothers and fathers will be the first one crying, "My baby, my baby, my baby." Well, your baby ain't shit. Your baby's a damn thug. So what do you expect to happen to your damn baby when he's acting like this? Like Kevin said, parents got to get more involved in their kids' lives, man, because this is a trip. That's one reason why I got out of Chicago, man. South side of Chicago ain't no joke. They had 37 people murdered this weekend, man.
Over the weekend. Yeah.
So where's Black Lives Matter at?
Yeah, there you go.
So what you got to say, Donald, about this video?
I mean, I got a lot to say. I mean, but I'm gonna keep it brief because there's all of us on the screen. So first of all, right, parents got to be accountable. Okay. So also brought up the fact that we grew up in that same kind of era, right? My kids listen to that music. My kids grew up on that music. My kids ain't convicts. They ain't out here smoking dope. So listen, you got to start whooping these kids' asses. I'm sick and tired of all this timeout nonsense. I whooped ass. And I was waiting for, in my kitchen, on the refrigerator, had Child Protective Services. After I done whooped your ass, go to the refrigerator and call Child Protective Services. So when I go to the court and the judge asks me, Mr. Adams, why did you spank your child? I spanked him because if I stop spanking him, right, and then he comes before you, you're going to be asking him, where was your father at? I was right there all the time. So parents got it. In our generation, we didn't have these young parents getting younger and younger and younger like they are right now. Parents want to go out and hang out with their kid. I got parents smoking weed with their kids. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. My kids know, like, we joke around, Doc. Everybody knows we joke around. We'll bust it up. But when I turn that switch from, it's playtime's over, that's over. There is no reverence. There's no respect for. Matter of fact, they don't respect themselves. So Kev got a huge challenge because what he has to do is he has to pray that his foundation that he's laid for his son is not influenced by the music that he listens to or the video games that he plays. That's a challenge, right? That's a challenge. So when you talk about schools and in urban areas, man, you out in the suburbs, that ain't nothing. There's no challenges out there. I done had at Imhotep, we done had 5 kids been killed in the last 2 years, 2 of which had already had full scholarships to go play basketball. Killed in the streets of Philadelphia. Nobody, no movement is coming to support these kids. I had a young lady that was killed. And she was killed just driving from the store, her junior year in college. Because these young boys out here shooting up the neighborhood, glorifying these videos. Now, here's the bad part about it. I have some of my own family, broke ass niggas. Y'all so broke, you out here selling drugs and you can't even get money to get yourself out of jail. I hate it. It's just so much, man.
Listen, no, I appreciate it. So I wanted to hear everybody's opinion, right? Because when I saw the video, I've seen videos before, right? But I've never seen video marketed like a commercial. Like, I've never seen a video come up as a commercial like that. And it just shocked the shit out of me, quite honestly. I was like, oh shit, I need to take a picture of this because I need to talk to the fellas about this because I can't believe this is happening right now. And I saw, first thing that came to my mind is like, this is why white people think of us in a certain way. That's the first thing that came to my mind. Like, this is why white people think of us in a certain way because of shit like this on TV. Then I said, oh man, these guys are pointing guns. They're using guns. They mismanaging the use of how you use a gun. Because I'm a gun owner, right? Like how you use one. You pointing at the screen, shot something. They could have shot somebody. I mean, you just never know. Maybe they did take all protections and precautions, but the fact of just the way they're handling it and using all the stuff, I'm just like, oh my goodness. But so I wanted to hear your point. I thought like real bad about it. Like when I saw it, I'm like, people think of us this way because of the stuff that's being put out there. But then I wanted to listen to Carl. Carl, you made a good point. Yeah, NWA. I never thought about the times changing, right? Like, even though we got out of high school, NWA came right outside of us kind of coming out of the high school, and Public Enemy and everything. But at the same time, they was carrying guns. And I never looked at the guns in that way. But I don't remember them. I remember maybe Snoop smoking weed, but not everybody. I mean, it was so
Public Enemy,
pronounced.
Pro-black.
Public Enemy, though, it was a political message.
Message, yeah.
Now I know we don't. I know there's a hard distinction. KRS-One political. They were trying to make statements about police brutality, and it's ironic that when Marvin Gaye wrote the song in 1967 about what's going on, it's still going on. That song came out in the 90s. It's still relevant. We still talking about police brutality. We still talking about killing each other. But why is there no movement to talk about how we are killing ourselves? And did you send an email asking for that garbage to be removed?
No, not at all. Interesting. So let me ask you this. No. That's a Joe Madison. Well, what are you going to do about it instead of complaining? That might be something to do about it. But let's take in context what Carl said about NWA. Let's talk about NWA specifically, not even Public Enemy and KRS-One, but let's talk about NWA, right? They came out, they had the guns walking down the street, F the police, et cetera, et cetera. Why is this video different than their video in some, like, why are we looking at it differently if we are?
Well, one reason why with NWA was trying to give insight to the powers that be, that this is what goes on in our neighborhoods. Now, the video that we just saw is not for the powers that be. The powers that be are promoting it for $1. You got NWA, like I just said, NWA showing what's going on in our neighborhoods, from the West Coast to the East Coast. And now you got these guys like this, saying, oh, we could do this in our neighborhood, and we're not to be messed with.
Listen, when I saw this video, y'all, I was dumbfounded. And all I can think about is everything that's going on today in the world, how we're such a divided world. Like, how could we, like, who approved it? Someone said, like, who approved it, right? Who approved it to be up there?
Wait a minute. Somebody signed off on Code 45 in old English. I mean, think about it. Somebody signed off on this stuff, man. Yeah. That poison that is in our community, somebody is signing off and making millions off of this. Millions.
It's not getting aired without the approval of the people.
I'm going to
run your business.
I'm going to piggyback on what the preacher said. And that's for people that are offended behind it, need to get behind it. And I'm going to show you the power of the pen and the power of the voice. Everybody remembers, of course, I'm a Michael Jackson fan. Years ago, when Michael Jackson had that song, They Don't Care About Us, right? And there was a section in the song where he said, kick me, kike me. Derogatory term.
To the Jews, yeah. They took care of that.
It was derogatory term towards the Jews, right? There was so much backlash and flack from the Jewish community. When you hear that song now, it is bleeped out. They took it out the video. It was deleted. He even had to apologize for it. So I say that to say this. If we, as a community, feel that strongly about that particular thing, then we need to get behind the dollar and say, listen, we demand that you take that off. We're going to pull our subscription. If we feel that strongly about it as a community, let's get behind it and demand to pull that ad, because we feel that it's offensive, it's derogatory, it sends negative connotations. The only thing that's going to make the needle move is the dollar. A lot of these young stars, from Justin Bieber to on, these people are getting famous via YouTube, via Instagram. There's no more Motown. There's no more record labels making artists. There's no more artists, paying their dues. These people are getting famous and getting singles by putting out their own video on YouTube, Instagram, or social media, and they become one-hit wonders, and all of a sudden, they're a ghetto celebrity.
I saw that video, man, and I'm like, something's wrong here, right? There's problems. I mean, Leon, you mentioned, growing up in the neighborhood, but from a marketing perspective, like, did you see that stuff back then? Because I grew up, I had guns pulled on me, man, back in the day. Look, somebody tried to rob me back in the day in South Philly. Shit, you know what I mean? And almost tried to break like I was a track star, till my buddy said, "Don't run." He said, "Don't run." I was about to run, but he's like, "Don't run." But no, have you seen something like that in your neighborhood though? Like videos like that?
No, not videos. No. I just seen people acting that way, man. You know, I grew up on the south side of Chicago, which is like 99.9% black. And it's a trip. It's funny because when I took my kids back to Chicago, the first thing they both said was that, Dad, there's so many black people. And I just laughed. I laughed my butt off because they weren't used to that. They hadn't been brought up in that kind of environment, you know. They like freaking out. And then they said, how come they talk like that? And I just like, oh my God. He said, because they talk proper. I was like, oh my God. I said, I don't raise some bougie ass kids.
Can I tell you what I did to my two boys when they were 12?
Go ahead.
So they thought they was tough. And I'm gonna say Frankie and Chris, so when y'all watch it, y'all think y'all tough. Okay. Let's take a ride. He taking a ride down the bad lanes. 16th and Norris, not the 16th and Norris we know today with the $300,000 houses. No. Cecil 20th and Cecil B. Moore, 22nd, not the regional, not the gentrified North Philly. We going back almost 17 years ago. And I said, y'all two little bees, I'm gonna drop your punk asses off right here. Before you get to Lehigh Avenue, they gonna snatch you, rape you, or something. Y'all think y'all tough? Get the hell out my car. Find your own way home. I'm out. Next thing I know, I'm getting phone calls from his mother. My wife is calling me. You better go get my boys. Don't leave them down there. No, they think they tough because they spoiled and they bougie. And the reason why is because I wanted them to understand that the fact that we live in this house in Holmesburg it's part of Philadelphia, but it's not that part of Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. They couldn't make it where KT grew up off of Somerset and Broad. They'd be shaking, trying to go to the subway to get out of here, man.
I just want to holler real quick. I'm so glad everybody jumped on. Next week, let's have a banging topic.
Go with this, man.
Huh?
I was at a show the other night, and it was so many beautiful women, right, in Miami. It was unreal, right?
Oh, you was in Miami?
I was in Miami, and it was so many beautiful women. And I told them, I said, you know what? I love beautiful women, but I'm particularly the black women. I love black women because I would not date a white woman during Black History Month. You know what I'm saying?
That's the only day you won't.
It is. You know, black to the people. You know what I'm saying?
My brothers. Video podcast.